Drop everything and clear those ears. It's time for the Dave and Dave Show.
Jersey Dave, what do you say? What do you know? Looking a little chilly up there in the
It is a little chilly.
Northeast.
Yes, got very cold. It was very warm. It was practically 60 degrees yesterday, I think. And today, it's not.
Well, we got a gorgeous day here in the Gulf Coast, and we're sunning ourselves with our brilliant college record last week.
Rub it. That's good. I thought you were going to rub in the nice weather, but yeah, we could talk about college. Almost had a perfect card, but Penn State let me down.
Tough one. But we're coming into the best time of the year, the full.
What a perfect card. Did you not? Oh no, you 3-1.
We're 3-1. Yeah, you're
3-1.
You're notorious Ohio.
Am I?
We out.
Got you.
Miami didn't show up. I don't know what happened. They were out partying there, but I'm not sure. They did not show, but they ruined my. But we're going bowling, baby. We're going bowling. Best season of the year, bowl season. But let's touch upon a little kickball. What do you?
Well, my fears last week were realized when Man U is so bad that, we went for the draw with Nottingham Forest. We went for a nice price, big price on a draw, 300. But them to win the game was even bigger than that, and they beat Man U straight up by a goal. Couldn't get the equalizer there, unfortunately, so we went down on kickball last week. But this week, we are going to a different country. We are going to travel to the continent.
All right, where are we off to, lad?
The Bundesliga. Interesting game on Saturday. Yeah, interesting game on Saturday between St. Pauli, which is a recently promoted team. I've really been starting to play a lot better lately. At one point, it was looking like, no doubt about it, they're going to be the bottom team in the league, and they're going to go right back down to the Bundesliga too. But lately, they have crawled out of the bottom three, and they're trying to stay in the league. And I think they're really playing some pretty solid ball. Haven't been great at home. Haven't been great, period. Okay, but I just see signs that they are ascending. They're actually playing a team, Werder Bremen, who are pretty hot team. But I like this matchup between two teams that are both scrappy and have both been, playing good, tight games. I'm looking at a draw in the game between St. Pauli and Werder Bremen. Draw is plus 220 on that.
Nice price.
Pick 'em game as far as the prices on the teams. It's like one team's plus 160, the other one's plus 170, but evenly matched game, and I think it could very easily end up in a tie, so we're looking at the draw plus 220.
Interesting in that league to see Bayern Munich back on top. Couple of years there where, they've been struggling in Borussia.
Yeah.
They were the tough team. Now Bayern is up top. Who's playing? Do they have the Englishman there playing with them?
With Bayern, yeah. Well, Bayern got Harry.
Harry, right.
From Tottenham. Yeah, installed.
They're playing tough. You got to love them. But talking about how the mighty have fallen, what's up with not only Man U, but Man City this year?
Man City's in big trouble. Well, they lost their best player. Okay, this guy, Rodri, he may be the best player in the world right now. And they lost at the beginning of the season, and they've never really been the same. I mean, beginning of the year was sort of looked like a three-way battle between them, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Now Liverpool sort of separated themselves. Arsenal's had their own problems. But Man City, they're like a shadow of themselves, and they're really on a bad run. They're not only on a bad run in the Premier League, but they're on a bad run in the Champions League as well. So,
well, real quick, touching upon the Champions League, I know we're in the relatively early stages in the UEFA Champions League standings and the tournament itself. Any teams that you see in there? A little surprised. I see there's a couple of French teams that I don't even recognize in there. But any really dark horses you see?
Lille's looking pretty good. They're
stuff like
north of,
where are these guys coming from?
Practically in Belgium, but Beautiful little town, like a lot of places in France. I know you're not fond of the Froggies, but I won't go on.
Hey,
I would have
spent some time in Nancy with Nancy.
in Nantes with Nantes.
Very low. I recognize, Liverpool, Barcelona, Arsenal, but Bayer Leverkusen, not so much.
Look, they won the Europa League last year, and
Wow.
Bayer Leverkusen, I think you go back like 2 seasons now. Over the last 2 seasons, and all the international play as well, they've lost 3 games, 3 total, and they won they weren't in Champions League last year. They were in the Europa League, but they were the winners, and they look like they might do some damage in the Champions League this year. Liverpool, obviously, kind of looks like the class of
6-0.
Yeah, really good.
And Barca coming back a little bit. They've been down the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And even with the famous Frenchman, Mapre, AC Milan is still more or less. I hear that beautiful Limey accent in the background. That's all right. Keep it pumping, Dave. Keep it pumping. All right. So we got your pick for Saturday. And let's move on to the college gridiron. Not much to choose from. We're kind of
Even schedule.
Yeah, which kind of I'm psyched for bowl season. Next week we're going to come loaded for Bear with the first real big week of the bowls, but some competitive games this weekend and early next week.
Yeah,
Watch us start us off.
and of course this weekend is a game that every year this game's kind of special. I'm not trying to be like super patriot and wrap myself in a flag or anything, but Army Navy. I used to like it more, I think, when the teams were crappy.
Yeah, when it was like, and they were
a non-factor. Now, there's been some seasons recently where Navy was really good. They won some bowl games recently. This year it happens to be Army looks like the top team, and they are favored in this game. But as they say, let's break out the cliche on this one. You can throw the records out the window because this is a notoriously close game. There was a streak back like 20 years ago where they played like 10 games in a row that the winning margin was like 3 at the most. And they played a ton of close games. I'm hoping for the same scenario here, that this is really, Navy's big deal. We had Army play pretty well the other night for us in their conference championship game, and they got the job done. Maybe a little bit of distraction, whereas Navy's been able to concentrate on their big game of the year, which of course is the game against Army. So here we go, taking Navy plus 6.5 against Army in that game, and they got a little bit of an advantage in that it's not going to be a crowd advantage, but it is going to be a proximity advantage where they're playing the game in Landover, Maryland, closer to the Naval Academy campus. I think that might help them out just a little bit. It's not a
little taste.
It's not supposed to be too terribly cold or nasty there or anything, but
and that line is sitting tight at minus 6.5. They won't budge up to the.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting enough action on Navy to keep them honest. Where to look, like you said on paper, you might as well throw everything away. But we're gonna go for a pizza. We're going head to head here, Dave. I have to go with the against the midshipmen and with the Black Knights of Army. For all the obvious reasons, they handled Tulane. I mean, Tulane,
they really did.
Had a good season. And every time Tulane tried to get back into it, Army is running on all cylinders right now. I don't think they'll look ahead. I think this is their Super Bowl as well. Even though, Army has had a much more successful season, it's going to be a tough game. But I think they're 7 points better than the midshipmen. They couldn't handle, Notre Dame, obviously. They did for the first half, but they were banged up. They came back and beat a really good University of Texas San Antonio team. And then we were both on Army last week. And I'm going to, parlay that into an Army victory. I'll give you the 6.5, and we're going head to head for a pizza.
You're on. Nothing like Army Navy for a pizza. It's going to be a big.
Gotta love it.
All right. Love it.
Daver, remind us as we gaze at your cap there. What beer is that? Is that from the Irishman of McGregor's?
I'm not a huge fan of it, but I would give it, if you like stout, I would give it the nod over Guinness. Just a light nod.
That's a hard one.
Yeah. But this is an Irish stout, and it's Conor McGregor's brewery. Forged. That's the FED. See, they left out a couple.
We'll be contacting them for
unofficial sponsor, and checks on the way. That's what I heard.
All right, brother. Give us your second pick in college football.
Second pick, I'm going to, they're considering this to be a bowl game. I'm looking at Jackson State getting 2 points against South Carolina State. Actually, initially thought that all the action would be on Jackson State because of, the whole thing with Deion Sanders building the program down there and whatnot. Oh, I used the word program. And then going on to my school, University of Colorado. I really thought that this game would have a lot of attention on Jackson State, but it don't. The bettors are on South Carolina State right now, so I'm willing to bet that that there's enough remnants of the program that not everybody from Jackson State went out to Colorado to play ball, and there's still enough talent there to win this game. I mean, the points aren't anything to be considered. It's only a 2-point spread. But I'm taking Jackson State over South Carolina State in that bowl game on Saturday.
Dave, we're going head-to-head again.
All right. Pizza number 2.
Yes. Chenise Berry, he's the new coach there. He's got these guys playing incredibly hard. And I think he was the last one to beat Deion Sanders, Jackson State. And I think he's got to do it again. South Carolina minus the 2. I know you talked about them. Who's a quarterback for those teams?
On the recent Jackson State teams?
Yeah.
Jador Sanders' kid. Now he's Colorado's quarterback.
Correct. Anyway, we're going head-to-head again for a pizza, Daver. What's the line you got?
2. South Carolina State's favored by 2.
Okay. And you got Jackson State. I got South Carolina State. And what's the name? Is that the Cricket Bowl? Is it the famous? I mean,
I know. I don't know the names of any of these games.
Yeah, that's the Cricket Celebration. No, I'm sorry. Yes, the Cricket Celebration Bowl. They had a legendary coach in Buddy Pugh, and replacing him is, no small task. But this guy, Chenise Berry, and his South Carolina State Bulldogs, they went 5-0 in the MEAC play, 9-2 overall. I like them. I know they're getting a lot of press, and I know they're getting a little bit of action there on DraftKings, but I'm going to go with the betting public on this one and lay the 2.
All right. Cricket Celebration Bowl it is. I'm going to go to the FCS, which is not a bowl game. It's a playoff game between Cal Davis and South Dakota, University of, not South Dakota State. Anyway, I'm looking at Cal Davis here. And can you tell me a former NFL quarterback who was a UC Davis? I don't know if he's alumni, but he went there and he played football there. Could you tell me a former NFL quarterback who played at Cal Davis?
I can, because it's somebody near and dear to you. Heart. And a good Irishman, I might add. We're talking about McGregor and Guinness. Kenny O'Brien.
Announce his name the way Marv used to do it on the games. Marv Albert used to.
To Albert Toon.
Sure. Yeah,
I was a Kenny O'Brien fan because the Jets gave him so much shit when they drafted him. Who is this Kenny Davis, they were saying? And he actually had an incredible career. It was great, numbers-wise. Just he was on a tough Jets team.
Well, it had its ups and downs. But he was a little statue-like back there, and that kind of cost him. Also, he didn't like to throw picks. He didn't throw a lot of them.
He had
a lot of sacks. He took a lot of sacks, and he threw a lot of pitch passes into the bench so that he wouldn't throw a pick. But took a lot of sacks.
All right, UC Davis.
What UC Davis plus 5.5 against South Dakota. Now, South Dakota is at home. You might say, oh, my God, California team can't go to South Dakota in December and win. Well, South Dakota plays in a dome. So it's going to be just fine for this high-powered UC Davis offense to run wild. I'll take the 5.5. I think they can win the game straight up, but I'll take the points anyway.
All right, Grasshopper. Speaking of the cold, I'm going to take the first game on the card, Montana State. I'm laying 2 touchdowns and a half a point to Idaho. Montana State is used to playing at the end of the year. Incredibly successful program. They're always there. Idaho's the new guy. Montana State is usually playing South Dakota State or North Dakota State, or those guys are playing each other. But Montana State, superior in their division, incredible offense. They're going to put it to the potatoes over there. Montana State laying 2 touchdowns and a half a point, 14.5 against Idaho. Take that favorite.
I almost had them on my list. I was just a little scared all those points, but they are, yeah, the Bobcats are tough, and they look good in that spot, and there's a reason.
Always tough, and they're coached well, that program again, and, pointing toward the end of the season, and they play well in the frost, Bring it on. Those incredible winters in Montana. Let's go. Who's your last pick there in college, brother?
All right. I am looking at that other bowl game on Saturday, the late game, which is between Western Michigan and South Alabama. A little hesitant on the side that I'm going with, was just Western Michigan plus 8, just because they did not finish the season strongly. They lost 3 in a row, and then their last game they managed to win, but it was against a crappy team, and they barely won that one. So they didn't exactly finish the season strong, but I think they have enough talent, and they did play a team from South Alabama's conference earlier in the year. They played Marshall, who, if you saw that championship game last week, oh my goodness,
we did.
Were they the best team in that conference? By a lot. Western Michigan hung in there with them in that game. They only lost by 7. They're getting 8 points against a kind of a middle-of-the-road team from the conference, South Alabama. Now, South Alabama also has a little bit of an advantage, and this is practically a home game. They're playing a game in Montgomery. But be that as it may, I'm going with the boys from the MAC. We're going to have a couple other opportunities in bowl games to play some MAC teams. But here's a MAC team right off the bat. On Saturday night, I'm taking Western Michigan plus 8 against South Alabama.
The MAC attack. No, they got a great quarterback there. I love that guy, Hayden Wolf. And he's actually one of the oldest veterans in the sport. He played in Old Dominion, I think, in 2019. He's before transferring to Kalamazoo. So you got a crusty guy back there, and that seems to work. I know it's next week, but it's still a bowl game, and we're not going to be able to talk about it, I don't believe. But I'm going to make a pick in the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl, which is Memphis against West Virginia. I didn't give you a heads up on this, but I'm looking for college picks. I'm going with the Tigers of Memphis, minus 4.5 against West Virginia. We were both on the Tigers. They handled Tulane. They're at the top of the AAC. Lots of offensive firepower. They got Seth Hennigan. He's going to return to Dallas area to play in Frisco. And I really like Memphis. 10-3 finish this year. They had a really successful season. They finished off the season well. I'm going to lay the 4.5 at the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Memphis minus 4.5 against West Virginia.
All right. Going with our man Hennigan.
Hey, Hennigan. We're going Irish today.
Very. And a Ken O'Brien reference to boot.
Yes, I did.
The Forged Irish Stout. Wow. Any Irish teams playing today in the Europa League? I'll have to look.
Please do. We're looking for a minor vibe.
Yeah.
All right, how we doing, Daver?
You're going to be up first on the pros. How's that?
All right.
You're up.
Let's get right to it. I'm jumping on the bandwagon, and I'm going right to Saturday. I know you got a Thursday night pick, but I'll jump to Saturday before your Thursday night pick, and I'm going to take the Panthers, Carolina Panthers. They're definitely on a roll, bro. They should have beat Tampa last week. They got a little bit crazy there at the end of the game. Their defense is playing great. There's no reason why they can't handle the Cowboys at home. This is a scary low line, but I'll give 3 points against the Cowboys, and I'll take Carolina as my number one pick. 5 units. I'm going all in.
All right. Well, guess what? You're going to have to pick again. Because
You're with me on that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I was all ready to talk about how, you're talking about a team ascending. Carolina's obviously been playing a lot better the last few weeks. Hey, they should have won that game against Philly. All right. They should have won the game straight up. They played tough. Really like a lot of the things that they've been doing lately. Obviously they settled on a quarterback. I think that's important. But the defense is playing well. I mean, look at the last few games. They've been pretty stingy. Playing against a team that is just an absolute mess. I mean, that you couldn't even win that game against a horrible Bengals defense. Managed to figure out a way to blow that. I mean, thankfully for us, we both like Cincinnati in the game against Dallas, but now here, this is a team that is just in chaos. So I love that pick, actually. Carolina.
Yeah, and Dallas couldn't put it together with a porous, Bengals defense who was giving up 20 and 30 points a game for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And we should have lost that game, but it was against Dallas. So I will follow it up. I know we're on a little time constraint here. So I'm going to jump over to the hot and cold theory. If you can figure out the Dolphins at 6-7, good luck. But
I tried to figure that game out, and I can't.
Yeah.
The city.
I think Texans are off a bye week, but I'm going to take the points. There's a reason it's so small. Tua has them playing really well. Terrible game last week. Terrible. I was on him. I was ready to cut my wrist. But I'll take the Dolphins +3 going into Houston and playing the Texans, who are a very average team this year. And the Dolphins are going to rebound, especially off a loss. They play very well.
I mean, Miami, if you got them early in the week last week, you won because they were only 5.5 to the Jets. If you got them the day of the game, you lost because they ended up laying 6.5.
Fortunately,
they still won the game. They played terribly. Jets managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory again. And hey, Miami got the W, and they're kind of in the playoff hunt, I guess you'd have to say. I was looking for a way to do that because I've kind of been going against Houston all year long. That was clearly one of the overrated teams coming into the season. And then early on, they were winning games but not covering. Now they're just flat out losing. They got the week off, but I still like your pick there, although I didn't have them on my list. So I guess it's my turn.
Give me one from the list.
I'm looking at another one of my. I gotta do tonight's game. Yeah, I think this is. I'm gonna go anti. What have you done for me lately? Although here's the thing, I think everybody's getting blown away by the Rams with their game against Buffalo. I'm thinking I'm a little bit more impressed with the way the Niners, but especially in the first half against the Bears, because the 49ers looked like a team in disarray after their Buffalo game. Bounced back, came home, and took care of business against the Bears. At least, early on, they kind of let them back in it in the second half, but they prevailed. I'm just kind of looking at this as people are overreacting to the Ram game against Buffalo. I'm going to go with the 49ers -3 at home against the Rams. They're getting that linebacker, the guy who went running onto the field for the Super Bowl last year, missed the game because he tore his Achilles. Ouch. He's coming back. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be able to go out there and be Lawrence Taylor, but he is an excellent player. And I think it's just going to be kind of an emotional lift for the team. And also, maybe he does make a couple of plays. And maybe he does help other guys, be able to do their job, because he'll be filling, one of the many holes that they've had this year on both sides of the ball because of injuries. So they're getting a big guy back, and maybe, the other guys are inspired to get healthier quicker for that team, because, they're a really good team last year with kind of a goofball quarterback, Brock Purdy and everything. Probably should have won the Super Bowl, in my opinion. This year, the injuries have really, really hurt them, really devastated them. So see if they get a couple guys back and take care of the Rams tonight. Good.
Everybody duck on me, give it. I mean, still favorite, a popular underdog. Everybody's on the Rams. And, San Francisco is third in team defense, and also third in team defense against the pass, which is supposed to be, Akua, or how do you pronounce it, and Kupp. Yes, great receivers. McVay and Stafford, great combination. But I think they're getting a little healthier on the defensive side of the football anyway. And I see it just inching down to 2.5. A lot of late money, quote unquote, late. Still got some time.
All right. No. Yeah, people are definitely playing the Rams, and that's why I started to look at the Niners. I think when you're playing the Rams, it's pretty simple. You get pressure on Matthew Stafford, and you can beat him. And if you don't, you're in trouble.
Yes.
The Niners are going to be able to get some pressure on him. So.
Well, Dave, I'm with you on that. That's actually my third pick.
Oh, so it's my turn again.
Yeah. Follow us up, my bro.
All right. I'm going to go with the boys that, they did the right thing last week. For me, they lost. A team that had been playing a little bit better ball and then lost straight up last week at home as a favorite. This is almost more an anti-Cincinnati bet than it is a pro-Tennessee bet. But I'm telling you, that Cincinnati defense, I think we could go out there with the ball and score a few touchdowns against them. They
lot play there off of Halstead
are bad. And, Joe Burrow, poor guy. I just think that this is a little bit too big of a number. And I'm taking Tennessee +5 against Cincinnati's porous defense. And they were very...
I'm always on the wrong side of Tennessee. I just, last week just broke my heart. But I agree with going with the team that looked so bad last week. And I agree with you also that people are going to be all over Cincinnati. Having said that, I'm going down, going to the Motor City, and I'm going to take the Bills +2.5. I think Josh Allen, he might throw 4 touchdowns and then run for another 3. He's going to be playing inside of a dome. First time in a long time. He stopped playing in the elements. They were snake bit last week. A couple of times they should have come back and beaten the Rams. Great offensive output. They look terrible on defense. I know everybody is on the Lions, but why is it sneaky low? It's
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. So
and I'm looking forward to watching this game, and I definitely want to take the Lions. Are a really poor second half team. They've been playing kind of average the last couple of weeks.
They have been. They slipped off a little. At one point, I would say middle of the season, they clearly look like the best team in the league. Other guys sort of having their ups and downs. Kansas City doing this play a close game and win every week routine that they're famous for. Lions were looking great, and lately, right, they haven't put a complete whole game together in a while. They've had some good halves, but they've had some lousy halves too. That's a really tricky game. I mean, maybe you just go with another track meet like the game against the Rams. That neither team is going to be able to stop the other guys because, Detroit's offense is still pretty formidable. And
give us a track meet and I'll take the field goal. And it's gonna, I would wait around. It's 2.5 now.
I'm definitely not going to contradict you on that. In fact, I was trying to build a case for Buffalo.
I appreciate that.
Couldn't do it.
Appreciate that, Dave.
You do it. Let you do it. You build the case. All right.
Right.
All right, counselor. So now we're on to, since I took Tennessee in this game against Cincinnati and their crappy defense, one of the things I don't think that Tennessee's loss that week was as bad as people are making it out to be, because Jacksonville is another team that's been a little bit better lately. A little bit better than the Jacksonville. I'm taking Jacksonville against who are they playing? Oh, that's right. The freaking Jets.
Going against the green.
Going against the green again. I mean, I'm taking a win for last week's Dave and Dave show with Miami against each other. So I get a dub.
Oh, as you should.
I'm taking it. And I'm going for another one this week. The Jets. Oh my God. I mean, that was a game last week where I don't think Miami could play any worse, and they still won. So I think Jacksonville is going to take the advantage of a Jets team they're terrible. They're terrible. It might be a little bit of wishful thinking on my part. Here's the thing: when you hope for a high draft choice with an organization like the Jets, it doesn't mean anything because they're just going to pick some stiff anyway. So what difference does it make if they end up with a shitty record? Even if they get the number one draft choice, they'll take like Keyshawn Johnson or something ridiculous, So can't even get excited about them having a bad record.
Anyway, like I am with the Jets.
+3 against the Jets.
All right. He's taking Tennessee. He's taking Jacksonville. He's scraping
clubs.
If you like scraping.
Going with the shove. Look, they're not giving, at least they're crappy teams that aren't giving points.
Exactly. That's the smart move. Yeah.
We're points with a crappy Carolina team, but they're playing maybe the worst team in the league right now. Dallas.
The most underachieving, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, David. I'm going out to the left coast. My old stomping grounds, although they moved from there. I'm going with the Chargers, San Diego Chargers. I love you, but we're now the LA Chargers. -2.5.
Broke down San Diego.
Yes, I can't. The lightning bolts. John Hadel, Lance Allworth, with me all the way.
3690. Down San Diego.
The Mighty 690 playing at the Jelly Stadium. Yeah, the Tampa should have lost last week, and the Chargers should have won. But either way, this point spread of -2.5. They're definitely a field goal better than Tampa Bay, who plays well. They play very well away, but they're coming a long way.
I thought Tampa was your team.
They are, but I don't see them in this spot. I see the Chargers being able to handle Baker Mayfield, and the Chargers D are 8-5. They're playing really well. They played very well last week against the Chiefs, and Tampa didn't. They should have lost that game because Carolina lost their focus, and they let Tampa come down and kick a late field goal and win the game. But I do like the Chargers. They're definitely a more talented bunch than Tampa and much better coaching. And he's going to have them ready for a rebound here against the Buccaneers. Chargers -2.5 is my last pick.
All right. Can you run down your college? I got one more pro, but I just wanted to write that go at your college.
Like college, I'm taking the Army. Army -6.5. Memphis -4.5. South Carolina's -2. I look at all these favorites. And Montana State, I'm sorry, South Carolina State. Yes, that's definitely a
Montana State.
And then Montana State. All favorites. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dogs.
Bobcats.
But that's the way it is some days.
All right. And I got your pro picks: Carolina, Miami, Niners, Buffalo, Chargers. Okay, I got one last pro game. I am going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. -5.5 against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Everybody's talking pain.
Yeah, that's part of it. But this is the game where the Russell Wilson show comes to a screeching halt. I think that Philly game last week against Carolina is a bit of a wake-up call of like, hey, you can't take anybody too lightly. Now, here's a game that obviously they're going to be stoked for. Both these teams playing a little bit better this year than I thought they would, especially Pittsburgh. I just think Philly at home with a wake-up call. Another thing, I'm real curious about this line. How do we get all these games where these teams are laying a field goal, this, that? I mean, you look at like Denver having a much better season than Indianapolis is at home against Indy, only laying 4 points. But we got a team with two of the best records in the league playing each other here with Philly and Pittsburgh, and Philly's laying 5.5. In the old days, that would tell me you better start taking a long look at that favorite because they're not giving away points to good teams. That's
No, I agree.
Certainly a lot of times these days but this line just looked curious to me. I was like, why is Philly favored by so much against a good Pittsburgh team? I'm going with the Eagles. Just beat their ass and send them back.
And you've been against the Eagles a lot. You know, this is a betting season.
Unfortunately, a lot of times.
Last week with Carolina, thank God, but I feel sorry for the people who had the money line on Carolina last year. I know there weren't many of them, but there were a few of them.
Mahalo.
To win, they deserve that win, but they didn't get it. So anyway, all right.
I'll be good enough.
The clock.
Okay, we're on to Burrito. Signing out. This week we're going bowling.
All right, my man.
Tune in next week. See you around. Have a nice couple of Fargos and maybe slip in a Guinness.
All right.
Or a black and tan if you're so up for it.
Good job.
All right, my bro. See you next week. Go Dave and Dave.